He used my birthday party as a cover. While I was in the kitchen, he snuck out back with my sister. I watched from the window, cake knife still in my hand. Later, I asked her why. She said, "Because you never looked at me like he does." So, I did something no one expected, and when he tried to call the next day, all he heard was, "My name's Tasha, and this happened last year in Greensboro, North Carolina." I'm 36 now, but the memory of that night still keeps me up sometimes. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who got played in her own house. On her own birthday. With her own blood. It was a Saturday, June 10th. Hot as hell outside. I'd spent the whole week getting everything ready. Cleaned the house top to bottom, got the patio set up, strung lights out back, even splurged on catering for once. I never throw parties, but this year I wanted to. I wanted to celebrate. I thought things were finally going right. I'd been dating Adam for about 7 months. We met when he came into the shop where my cousin works. He had that kind of laid-back, soft-spoken charm that made you feel safe. I'm not usually the type to fall fast, but with Adam it was different. He made me feel like I mattered, like I was worth showing up for, like I was seen. My sister Jenna was there that night too. She's 32, but she acts younger. She's always been that girl, big personality, flirty, always knows how to get attention. We've had our differences over the years, but we still talked, still tried to be close. I guess I always thought blood meant something. The party started around 6. People showed up with drinks and gifts, music was playing, and for a little while, everything felt perfect. Adam came in with a bouquet of sunflowers, my favorite, and kissed me on the cheek. I remember thinking how lucky I was. Around 9, I went into the kitchen to cut the cake. That's when everything changed. I was holding the knife, getting ready to slice it, and just happened to glance out the window. The backyard lights were on, casting long shadows across the lawn. I saw Adam. And I saw Jenna. They were near the shed, just barely hidden by the edge of the fence. She was leaning into him, laughing, while he brushed something off her neck. Then he kissed her. Not a friendly peck. Not a mistake. It was slow. Familiar. Like they'd done it before. I didn't move. Just stared. The knife was still in my hand, the cake untouched. My ears went quiet, like I was underwater. People were still laughing in the other room, but I couldn't hear a thing. Just the blood rushing through my ears, and the sight of my boyfriend and my sister wrapped around each other, like I never existed. I stood there for what felt like forever. Then I put the knife down, straightened my dress, and walked out of the kitchen like nothing was wrong. I smiled. I laughed. I thanked people for coming. I hugged my aunt goodbye, all while that image replayed over and over in my head. They came back inside about 10 minutes later. Jenna looked flushed. Adam acted normal, like he hadn't just kissed my sister 20 feet from the window. That's when I knew it wasn't a slip. It was a pattern, a routine. They thought I was too blind to see it. Everyone left around 11. Jenna stayed behind to help clean up. Adam left first, saying he had to get up early. I told him I'd call him tomorrow. I was in the middle of wiping down the counter when I turned to Jenna. Why? She looked at me, confused. Why what? Why would you do that to me? I asked calmly. I saw you. Out back. She didn't deny it. Didn't even look surprised. She sighed and looked away. Then she said it. Because you never looked at me like he does. Like I was supposed to understand. Like that made it okay. I laughed. It was short and dry. I'm your sister, I said. And he's a man, she said. One who actually sees me. I didn't respond. I just walked out of the room and shut my door behind me. But I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed thinking about all the little things. The times Adam looked away when Jenna entered the room. The extra glass of wine he poured her last Christmas. The way she always made some comment about boring boyfriends when he wasn't around. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Instead, I made a plan. The next day, I texted Adam. Thanks again for coming last night. Can we talk later? Around 7? Just you. He responded instantly. Of course. Everything okay? Not really. Do I need to be worried? Yes. I spent the day cleaning again. Not the house, just my head. I was done letting people walk through my life like it belonged to them. At 6:45, I borrowed Rick's phone. He's a guy I know from work. Always had a little crush on me, but never crossed a line. I told him I needed to borrow his phone for an hour. No questions. He handed it over. Adam arrived at 7. Right on time. He had that same smile. The same gentle tone. Like nothing was wrong. Like I hadn't watched him betray me just hours before. We sat at the table. I had an envelope ready. Inside were printed screenshots, messages I'd pulled from his phone months ago, back when I had a gut feeling. I'd emailed them to myself and waited just in case. I guess I'd hoped I wouldn't need them. I slid the envelope to him. "What's this?" he asked. "Open it." He flipped through the pages. First confusion, then panic, then silence. "That's not what it looks like," he finally said. "It looks like you've been talking to half the women in my contacts list," I said. He tried to stand, but I told him to sit. "You're not leaving yet." I walked over to the counter, picked up Rick's phone, and hit send. I had a pre-typed text ready. 1 minute later, Jenna walked in. She looked nervous. Saw Adam. Saw the envelope. "What is this?" she asked. I handed her a second envelope. This one had photos from the night before, pulled from my backyard security camera. She went pale. "Why would you do this?" she asked me. "You mean expose the two people who lied to my face? Slept together in my yard? At my party? On my birthday?" She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "Save it. You said I never looked at you like he does? Well, now I do. And I finally see you for what you are." They both tried to speak. I didn't let them. I walked over to the living room, turned on the TV, and hit play on the security footage. There they were in full color, time-stamped and undeniable. Adam stood up and left without a word. Jenna tried to follow, but I stopped her at the door. "You can go," I said. "But you're not my sister anymore." She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. She walked out into the night, without looking back. The next morning, Adam called. He called again, and again. All he heard was a disconnect tone. But I wasn't done. Not even close. After I cut them off, I thought I'd feel better. I didn't. I kept checking my phone. Not because I missed him, God, no, but because part of me wanted him to try harder. I wanted him to squirm. I wanted Jenna to text me, to try and explain. But nothing came. Not for the first few days, anyway. Then on day 4, I got a message. Not from Adam. Not from Jenna. But from my Aunt June. "Hey, sweetie. Just saw Jenna. She looked awful. What happened between y'all?" I didn't answer. I figured Jenna would run crying to family. Paint herself as the victim. That's what she always did. I braced myself for more. That night, I got a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. Adam. I didn't open it. He knocked again. Then started talking through the door. "Tasha. Please. Just 5 minutes." I stayed silent. I messed up. I know I messed up. I panicked. It meant nothing. She meant nothing. "Please talk to me." I didn't move. After a minute, he left. I watched from the window as he sat in his car for a while before driving off. The next day, my cousin Malik called me. "I'm only asking once," he said. "Did Adam really mess around with Jenna?" "Yeah," I said. "Saw it with my own eyes." He cursed under his breath. "I saw his car at Jenna's apartment last night. That stung. I don't know why it did, but it did." I nodded. Even though he couldn't see me, they deserve each other. That should have been it. That should have been the end. But things kept spiraling. A week later, I get pulled into HR at work. "Tasha, we got an anonymous tip that you've been using your work computer to look up private customer data. That true?" My stomach dropped. That was a lie. A bold one. They showed me a printed email. Anonymous, my ass. I knew Jenna's writing when I saw it. She used the same phrases she always used, just looking out. Wanted to flag this quietly. I told HR I hadn't done anything wrong. They said they'd look into it. I wasn't written up, but the message was clear. Someone wanted to mess with my life. I called Malik right after. She's coming after me at work now, I said. Man, I knew something was off, he replied. She's been posting weird stuff on Facebook too. Real shady. Passive-aggressive like. I checked. Sure enough, she'd posted something like, funny how some people pretend to be loyal and mature, but act like middle schoolers when they don't get their way. Woman shrugging, I knew it was about me. And then things escalated. One night, I came home and found a deep scratch along the side of my car. Long, sharp, like someone had keyed it on purpose. I checked my door camera, nothing. Whoever did it had come in from the side, out of frame. That same night, I got a text from an unknown number. You always thought you were better than her. You're not. Just more fake. I stared at the message for a long time. They wanted me to react. To lose control. So I didn't. Instead, I started collecting screenshots, messages, surveillance footage. I installed new cameras, wider angles this time. I got audio recorders too, hidden under my car's dashboard, just in case. I pulled every email and call log I had with Adam and Jenna and started organizing them in folders. If they wanted to start a war, I was going to win it slow. Then came the twist that changed everything. I got a message from someone named Kendra. We weren't close, but we'd met a few times through mutual friends. She sent me a DM. Hey, I know this is random, but I was dating Adam until a few months ago. He told me he was single. I just found out about you and Jenna. I think we need to talk. We met up that weekend at a diner off Battleground Avenue. Kendra came in with a folder. Printed messages. Photos. Dates. Times. Adam had been sleeping with her while he was dating me. There was even overlap with Jenna. So he was playing all three of us? I asked cold. She nodded. He's worse than you think. Then she pulled out one more thing. He told me you were crazy. That you stalked Jenna. That you tried to get him fired from his last job. I just stared at her. He was painting me out to be unstable. Like I was some obsessed ex who couldn't let go. That's when I realized. This wasn't just cheating. He was building a story. Laying groundwork. In case I ever exposed him. He wanted to flip the script. Make me look like the problem. And Jenna? She was helping him. That night, I went home and took everything I had, every file, every screenshot, every voice memo, and put it all together into one big file. But I wasn't ready to send it yet. Not yet. Because I had one more thing to do. One more person to visit. Their mother. Her name was Darlene. Adam's mom. I'd only met her twice before. First time was at a church picnic. Second time was when she came over to his place while I was there. She brought him food and called him her sweet boy. Back then, I thought she was sweet. Old school polite. Always in a pressed blouse. Always asking questions with a smile. I figured if I was ever part of that family for real, she'd be the type to hand down recipes and knit baby blankets. Now, I had no idea what to expect. I called her on a Sunday. Told her I needed to talk. In person. Just me and her. She hesitated, then said, All right, come on by. But make it quick. When I pulled up to her house on the east side of town, I sat in the car for a good 5 minutes before getting out. I didn't bring the full file, just a few pages. Enough to get the message across. She opened the door with a dish rag in one hand and a look like she already knew something was wrong. I don't know what he did, she said right away. But I can see it in your face. I walked in, sat down, showed her the printouts. Texts, photos, the message from Kendra. I told her everything, start to finish. Even about Jenna. Even about the fake work report. All of it. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she sat back in her chair, crossed her arms, and shook her head slowly. He's just like his daddy, she finally said. That caught me off guard. He was like this too? I asked. She nodded. Worse. Manipulated every woman he ever touched. Made you feel like you were the only one. Until you weren't. She looked at the floor. I thought Adam was different. Thought I raised him better. I didn't say anything. Then she stood up, walked to the kitchen, and came back with a shoebox. Inside were photos, letters, some old journals. I used to keep these to remind myself of what not to fall for, she said. I want you to take them. I don't want to dig up your past. No, she said. You'll want to see these. There's stuff about Adam in there. Things I probably should have paid attention to earlier. Maybe it'll help you figure out what he's really doing now. I left with the box. That night, I went through it slowly, and I found something, an envelope, dated 3 years ago. Inside was a printed police report. Adam had been accused of stalking an ex-girlfriend named Molly in Durham. It didn't go anywhere, no charges, but the woman had reported him showing up at her job, leaving flowers, emails, then threats when she blocked him. I dug deeper. Molly still lived in Durham, so I messaged her. It took her a few days, but she replied, "Is this about Adam? I really don't want to talk about him." I understand, but he's doing it again. To me, and maybe to others. She called me the next night. Turns out after she filed that police report, she had to move apartments. He showed up outside her building once, yelling about how she owed him closure. Said she'd never feel safe again unless she made it right. I told her he was now involved with my sister, and had lied to both of us. She was quiet for a while. Then she said, "He won't stop until someone stops him. You know that, right?" That's when I knew what I had to do next. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was protection. Not just for me. For every woman he might try this on again. 1 week later, I got a phone call. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Jenna. "Tasha, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but things are bad. Adam's been staying with me and, I don't know, he's different. He won't leave. He's going through my stuff. He reads my texts. I think I messed up. Please, call me." I listened to that voicemail 3 times. I didn't cry. I didn't feel bad. She'd made her choice. But she was in deep now. Too deep. And I knew Adam. I knew how he operated. First, he made you feel special. Then, he made you feel like you owed him everything. Then he broke you down when you tried to walk away. Jenna was just starting to figure that out. And maybe she deserved the lesson. But maybe, just maybe, I wasn't done with her either. Not yet. Because this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. After I heard Jenna's voicemail, I sat there for a long time, just staring at the wall. I didn't feel sorry for her, but I didn't hate her either. I felt cold, like whatever warmth I'd ever had for her had been drained out completely. Still, something in her voice was off. She sounded scared. And Adam? He was dangerous in that quiet way. Manipulative, always calm on the surface, but full of something darker underneath. I'd seen it in his eyes when he was cornered. I've believed Jenna. He wouldn't leave. And she didn't know how to push him out. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to help her. I was going to bury him. And I was going to let her watch. I spent 3 days finishing the file. It had everything. His text to me, to Jenna, to Kendra. DMs he sent to random women while he was with us. The voicemail Jenna left me. The police report from Durham. Molly's statement, which she gave me permission to include. Screenshots of the fake tip Jenna sent to my job. Then I added something else. A hidden recording I'd gotten the last time Adam called me. He didn't know I'd recorded it. He begged. He threatened. He said things like, "If you try to ruin me, I'll ruin you back." Then he said, "You think I can't flip this on you? You're unstable. You're jealous. I'll tell people you came after me." That was all I needed. I packaged the file in a shared Google Drive folder and sent it to 8 people. My HR manager, my cousin Malik, Jenna, Kendra, Molly, 3 mutual friends who still talk to Adam, and then I posted a shortened version of the file, names redacted, on a private Facebook group for local women in Greensboro, a group I'd been part of for years. I told the story without drama, just the facts. The group blew up. I didn't name him at first, but the women who knew, they filled in the blanks fast. Stories came pouring in. I dated him for 3 months. Same thing happened. He love-bombed me, then ghosted me. He made me feel crazy when I tried to break up. By the second day, the group had pinned my post. By day 4, Adam lost his job. Apparently, he'd been working at a local financial office under contract. A woman there recognized his name from the post and reported him to HR. He got let go for inappropriate communication with a coworker. By day 6, his car got towed outside Jenna's apartment. He'd let the insurance lapse and left it parked in a red zone. Then I got the text from Jenna. "You ruined him." No apology. No remorse. Just that. I didn't reply. But karma wasn't done with her either. A week later, Jenna showed up at my door. She looked rough. No makeup. Hair tied back. Eyes puffy. "I need help," she said. I didn't open the door. "You let him into your life," I said through the screen. "You helped him lie. You went after me at work. You let him crawl into my bed and then took him to yours." "I was wrong," she said. "But he's not who I thought. He scares me." "You wanted to be seen?" I said. "Well, now people see you." She stood there, crying, begging me to just let her inside. I didn't. Instead, I said, "Go to the police. Tell them what you know. Or don't. Either way, I'm done saving people who tried to destroy me." She left. That night, I saw her post on Facebook. Sometimes the person you trusted the most turns around and sets your life on fire. The comments were empty. People weren't buying her victim act anymore. A few weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. From Molly. Inside was a thank you card. Handwritten. "You gave me peace. I've been looking over my shoulder for years. Knowing people finally believe me. I owe you." She enclosed a photo of herself and her daughter. Adam didn't even know she'd had a baby. That one hit me hard. He'd hurt so many people. Left so many scars. And for a long time, we all thought we were alone in it. That we were crazy. That we were too sensitive. Now we knew better. Months passed. I heard Adam moved back in with his mom after Jenna kicked him out. She put all his stuff out on the curb one day while he was gone. Left a note taped to the front door. "Do not return." I heard his mom didn't let him stay long. He tried to get a job at another company. Malik knew a guy in HR there. Once they did a background check, it didn't go through. Word gets around. Eventually, Adam left town. Good riddance. As for Jenna, she stayed quiet. She moved to another part of the city. She doesn't come to family events anymore.